Welcome, everyone, to Midday Magazine for this Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. I have your host, James J., here with you, and we're welcoming into the studio our good friend, Wisconsin Rapids Mayor Matt Zacher. Matt, good to have you with us. Thanks for being here.
Morning, James. Thanks for having me, as always.
Want to send a big shout-out to Joe and our friends over at Wisconsin Rapids Community Theater. Do yourself a favor. Go to YouTube, type into your search bar, Wisconsin Rapids Community Theater. Subscribe to their page to keep up to the date on the great work that they are doing over there. Big shout-out to you guys. We appreciate you. Appreciate you, Matt. Not only the work that you have done in the short time you have been in this position, but we had an open house here the other day, and I was on the air. I didn't get to go say hi, but I saw you bopping around. You stopped by. Thanks for doing that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was great. I appreciate you guys doing that and giving people a chance to get out. And I know it's a big part of my job, and I don't know if it's the one thing I feel like I'm not living up to the most is just getting out with the community as much as possible, even after hours and on weekends, just to say hey and be a part of the community and the conversation.
I don't want to start our conversation countering you or anything like that or arguing with you, but I couldn't disagree with you more, man. I have heard from this community so much that they have enjoyed seeing you out there. They've been able to talk with you. One of the things that I heard really quickly into your run here is, the mayor was here at this event and it wasn't announced. He just showed up. He just was here. People have really been enjoying that, so I wouldn't be too hard on yourself on that one.
That's good to hear.
I think you're doing a darn good job when it comes to that. And
appreciate it.
And when it comes to the job, when it comes to being in this position, how have things been going? How are you feeling? You getting your kind of legs together, getting your grounding there?
Yeah, no, I think it's been great. I very much enjoyed the meet and greets, I call them. When you first get going and just reach out to everybody and they want to share what they're doing with you and vice versa, what my plans are. And everybody was very receptive. If I thought back now, like I've never been a big, social media guy, but I think I missed a lot of opportunities to just do those, selfies. I should bring my daughter with me. She would love doing that with us, but she's busy. But yeah, just to be able to put that out there too, like the people I'm talking to, without making it about me. I'd rather make it about them and the businesses that are out there and how many they're employing and what their plans are. If they're willing to share, it's good publicity and community spirit. So,
speaking of community spirit and things that support the community and enhance the community, the proclamations, the different days of or weeks of that we have from the mayor's office are always something that we look forward to and we enjoy highlighting. And one recently that you announced going on August 23rd and 24th, Buddy Poppy Day. Let's touch on this a little bit.
Yeah, just happy to help the VFW and everybody that's working hard there to make it happen. Sean and Misty were here the other day meeting with people. I've known Gordy. He's been a part of the VFW for years. He was my neighbor up on the Strodman location, so he'd come over and got me to join the VFW when I was pretty young. I do what I can. I'm not a huge part of the day-to-day, I'm just there to be supportive. And I know at this part, just every time I can bring them up and what they're doing and this, for this event that they're doing, fundraising is just great because of the things they do for the community and being able to raise that money and put it out to the community. They're selfless people that just, do everything every day to try to help out the community that has supported them throughout the years.
Was raised in part by a couple of vets. And I'll tell you, one of the things I learned really early in life is this is a group of people that are going to ask for nothing but deserve everything.
Yeah.
They're
amazing.
Completely selfless and just continue to put into their communities. Any chance we have to support them seems like a great call, and this is a great idea. Appreciate this, sir.
Yeah, no, it's great. And again, it's them coming up with the ideas and bringing it to us and, us being able to support their what their efforts are. I know they're working on building a nice shelter there where they can have more community events and have some fun there and bring people together. So it's important.
And stick right here with us, everybody. At the first morning show of the month, we have Tom Heiser joining us with our monthly Veterans Update. Tom keeps us up to date on all these things. So be sure to join us for that when it comes up. And be sure to join our friend Matt Zacher and our good friend Kyle Kearns at Coffee with the Chamber. You got that coming up August 28th, 8:30 to 9:30 over at the City Hall Council. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, this will be great. You never know what's going to come once you're sitting down and getting questions thrown at you. But it's never been a bad thing yet. I think people are super respectful. I had asked you about talking a little bit about the community development department. So this is a great segue to that also, bringing the Kyle's got a tough job, and the inspectors have a tough job. And that's where a lot of contention, I guess, in the community happens. And I heard a lot about it while I was a businessman. And, every time I wanted to make a move and with the business and be able to do stuff, you really have to learn a lot, learn the language of the city and understanding what they want. Well, it's really the city and the state, and there's some federal stuff that goes into it at times too. But for the most part, the city has their things. And as a business owner, you always kind of, you get frustrated and you want to take it all out on the city. Now, part of the reason I joined was to just understand at a deeper level what all goes into the city and why they need what they need and how it all comes to be. And I guess, so being able to see it from both sides now, I have a better understanding, and I'm not, trying to make excuses for one side or the other. I think it's just a bigger conversation about the city doesn't just make up stuff. Like, the city is a combination of all the aldermen and all the mayors and all the workers that have been there for the last 150 years for the most part. And every council that comes through votes on new stuff, and they bring it to the table, they vote on it, they bring it in. And remember, these are the people that are voted in by the people. So it's not that these are just, I'm sure who knows if there was times they always say, oh, it was the good old boy network and they all were in it together. And I don't know. I don't see that. Granted, you have to develop relationships with each other in order to communicate effectively. And my take right now is I need to educate the aldermen as much as we can, because as an alderman, I realized that I was making decisions with a part of the information that I needed, or the information was, I don't want to say what was given to you to see it in a certain light, so that you may or may not make a vote in that light or whatever. And I don't think anybody's necessarily doing any nefarious, big, crazy stuff, but it's just human nature to want to get your vision accomplished, whether you're elected or you're working for the city. So there's all these things, but in the end, we voted on everything that is there. So now, as a business owner or a resident, you have to deal with what's been voted in, and the best way to do that is to educate yourself. Like, you don't get the easy road to say, I'm just going to hire a contractor and they're going to do everything for me, because that contractor is still your employee. So if you're a resident and you're getting work done on your house, you're the employer of that contractor. So you're responsible for everything. If the contractor doesn't do it, doesn't get the permits, doesn't do it right, it's coming down on you, not on the contractor. And so who gets the brunt of all this is, Kyle Kearns, and the inspectors, and rightly so. They still need customer service. Mm-hmm. Like, they need to be respectful and do everything according to, what we as a city expect them to do, and to do it politely. And that's a hard task sometimes, but that's what they're hired to do. And I believe they're doing a great job, and I'm working with them to make sure that they understand that this is what's expected as employees of the city that the residents pay for. So that's all been really good understanding and learning and trying to bridge those gaps and getting stuff down. The one thing that I will say is the more we can get everybody educating themselves, not waiting for somebody else to do it, but taking your own responsibility for your own projects and your own money, then the better we're going to be in terms of getting stuff done without all the frustration and heartache and bad mouthing each other and all that kind of stuff.
Whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, it will be accomplished better and quicker if you are more informed.
Absolutely.
And giving you not only the project yourself, but the people you're working with some grace when it comes to that. Yep. We oftentimes don't know everything that is going on with a subject before we end up giving our opinion about it. It's maybe hold on to that opinion, or maybe hold on to some of that feedback before you have all the information. Yep. And I think it's always a good note, and it's interesting, this comes up with Sheriff Becker all the time when we're talking, but reminding people there's a human being behind that badge, and that human being is a citizen of the same community you live in. Yep. Very similar with what we're talking about here, this board, yourself, all these different individuals. We're locals. We're your neighbors. We're your people. We're coming at this from this oftentimes the same angle you are, right? And with the same oftentimes same information that you have or you can have. Yeah. So keeping that in mind as well, and taking advantage of these opportunities to be heard. You have this Coffee with the Chamber coming up. Here's an opportunity. You have feelings. You can express them as an adult. Yep. To Kyle, to Matt, to be able to talk to them. We have an advantage here in this area that not everybody has. We've got a mayor. We've got a public works organization, a group that want to talk to the public, that want feedback from the public, right. That are encouraging the public to reach out and attend these events. So be heard. Yep. Any dog can bark. Do you want to actually get something done? Yep. Go ahead and be at these events.
Yeah, this is the more I'm a part of this, the more I see two things. One, there's nobody coming to save us as a community. Yeah. Like there's no government entity that's coming down and is going to bring their decision-making powers and all of a sudden everything's going to be great. And there's no big businesses that are going to come and make our community financially strong and secure again. It all comes down to us taking pride in this community, and that's for everybody working together as one big community and really helping each other. I think about, my wife Jenny and I go for walks. We used to do it a lot more. We spend more time at the Y now. We got such an amazing Y. We got great paths to walk on. People got to look up, look at each other, and say hello. We have to turn this into a community where we're in it together and we're here to help each other. And that can just start with the simple things like saying hello and smiling and know that somehow, some way, that person's in the same exact position you're in life right now. And to have some compassion for each other and for yourselves is going to go a long way in terms of how we move forward as a community into the new economy that we develop and the new personality that we develop our community into.
It's a good reminder, a good reference, and well said. We're speaking with Wisconsin Rapids Mayor Matt Zacher right now, along with our friends from Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. And I want to remind everybody, Coffee with the Chamber with the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce, coming up August 28th, 8:30 to 9:30 over at their City Hall Council chambers. You can also attend it virtually. Find out more at the city's website or the Chamber's website. Encourage you to do so and follow them on social media as well. Sir, you talked a little bit about the community development project. How has the feedback on that been? And certainly could probably use more of it. Just about the topic itself and getting more and more people's feedback on businesses or different things that we're looking to do in this area to help out the economy or strengthen the economy in this area, I should say.
Yep. Well, in the end, business is business. The city doesn't develop business. They don't really stand in your way unless you need a state license to, buy and sell, or, if it's, certain licenses you need for alcohol, stuff like that. But for the most part, this government stays out of your way, and again, until you're in the public sphere, and you need certain safeguards, I guess. But ultimately, when it comes to your desire to move forward and build a building, if that's what it comes to, I mean, most businesses right now aren't going to be started in a building, and until you grow into something. These are happening in people's garages and people's basements, or working with each other, and I think that that's great. But that's the spirit, and the community development is there to help. It's really there to. Okay, my understanding as I am going through this to a higher level, when I used to say in the campaign, it's a municipal corporation. I didn't fully understand that, but I start to understand this better. Like this, it's a corporation, just like the United States. We have the United States of America, that's us. Then we have United States, the corporation. Wisconsin's a corporation. Wisconsin Rapids is a corporation. And they do it that way so that we can do business with other businesses and track everything and keep the paperwork straight. So, I mean, there's everything we do, we're doing to build. Let's go into the assessments.
Yeah.
Because that really what that does is that tells you what the municipal corporation is valued at.
Right.
So the state says, okay, we need to know what pretty much every house, every business, every industry, what the value of it is, so that at the end of that project, what the value of your community is. Yeah. I don't know exactly yet what they do with all that information. I mean, it plays a part into the bigger picture of what is the value of Wisconsin as a whole, and what is, all those numbers mean something, especially to the people who understand them better than I do.
You and me both.
Yeah, that's a lot. But but it serves a purpose in that. And we do have to understand that within that corporation, there's a set of rules that we agree to when we move into to the city limits of that
Right.
corporation. Like a lot of people will say when you get mad if they're being told to finish something in their property, and what right do you have to tell me what to do on my property? This is my property, private property rights and all that. But when you move into the city limits, so that corporate city limits, you do have some rules that we all agree to, and we have voting rights to bring the people in and talk about that stuff. So we do have to understand that what the city's doing is what's best for everybody within the city limits. And then you go out to the outlying communities, and they have the same practices, just to differing degrees. But cities are different in and of themselves. They have a big responsibility because this is where the majority of commerce happens.
This is what it is to be a part of a community. This is what it is to be a part of society. There are certain rights that we have being born in this country that we live and we uphold and we appreciate and cherish. And sometimes I think that there is some bleeding into other things with that, as in the idea of, well, this is my property, I can do what I want. You can't, though. You share this land with all of us. While that specific address may be your property that you own, that land is attached to another address and another address, and you are sharing this city, this community with the rest of us.
Yeah.
And any chance that we have to remind people of that, I think is important, and I think it goes a long way. You mentioned before about looking up and saying hi to each other. This is acknowledging other human beings in your community.
Yeah.
This is a very similar thing. You're acknowledging that, okay, I'm not in this alone. My land affects other people's land. We talked about this with PFAS quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, it's my land. I should be able to dump what I wanted to it. It don't stay there. It goes all over. You understand how this works, right? The ground thing and all that. This is a very similar thing. When it comes to this revaluation that's going on, and what we're talking about here with Mayor Matt Zacher, this is important data that needs to be collected. Now, I'm with you. I've done my homework on this, and even I don't know everything that they need this information for. But I know it's important. I know that when it comes to whether we're talking about, federally funded dollars or any of the above, like there's a lot of different areas that this can affect, and the information is important. So it's important to keep up on and to do.
Yeah, it's an important process, and it goes a long way to understand that. And we are fighting these battles now of saying, okay, nobody's looking to come down with the heavy hand. Nobody wants that. But at the same time, you have minimal tools at your disposal to try to get people to, work together as a community and clean stuff up and make sure that your neighbors are being able to enjoy their home and what they are able to look around at and participate in that community spirit. But again, it's tricky because it's not like anybody's looking to come down with the heavy hand of government. I have more and more people saying, you got to go into this business and fix it. I'm like, that's not really what we do. If you don't like that business, then you start a new business that competes with it and put that one out of business, or go and buy that business from the current owner, because obviously if they're not giving it the due attention, then they probably don't want it anymore. Right. But a lot of people don't. They just kind of let it go until it runs into the ground.
It's weird sometimes. We have a capitalist society. Whether you like that or not, we do. And it seems like some people forget that sometimes. And you have to remind them every once in a while. Wanted to touch on, before we let you go, a construction update. And looks like they're doing some good work on the bridge over there. And we have a track relocation we wanted to touch on as well.
Yes. So we know that Lincoln Street by the Witter Park got finished up for that just barely for the last few games, but they were able to open it up for the entire season so that people could get in and out without too much trouble, but you'd have to find your way around that subdivision. But that's looking great. They're just finishing it up between Chestnut and Quick Trip. Should be, if not today, pretty dang soon. So that'll be great. And what a great road to have done and connect to downtown. And there's going to be great things happening downtown as the county's finishing up with their construction project and other things that are coming from that as that evolves. We'll talk more about that as decisions are made, but it's going to look great down there. And then we are looking, that's been on the radar, will be on the agenda tonight for council, talking more about, I know maybe people get sick of hearing about it, but trying to do something with the track coming through Grand Avenue on the west side and seeing what we can do. And it's still there because there's a lot of federal money that is being put out there for grants in order to get rid of railroad crossings. And it's still a viable project, and it would be so great for the west side in that area to be able to, take that whole track out of there if at all possible and figure out how to reroute that. And it's a long process, but I'm determined to stick with it and get the right people on board to have that conversation, and hopefully we can get it done this time. Last time it was on the table was about 20 years ago, and it was so close.
Yeah.
And just didn't happen. And now is the time with the money that's available to try it again for around the same price as it would have cost then.
I'm excited to hear what develops with that, and looking forward to talking more and more about that, and certainly more with you about all of these projects and about all these different things. I do want to send a shout out to our construction workers out there, city workers doing such amazing work. Keep an eye out then. We still got orange cone season for a little while here and everything. Yeah. Slow down. Keep an eye out for our construction workers out there. Sir, by now, I'm sure others might have heard your other interviews and heard some feedback in the town. There is murmurs about mill news. I don't want to press you too much on this one because I know there's not much you can share, but I would ask that you keep the breaking news for us. No, I'm kidding. But is there anything you can touch on with the subject?
Well, it's nothing really that I didn't say from the beginning, which is the craft mill most likely won't be there, and that stands firm. And you can't really start talking about names or anything because you don't want egg on anyone's face or anything like that. But ultimately, CRG is doing a great job. And their whole goal here is to redevelop that whole area and turn it into the best possible industrial park that they can. So everything goes in line with that. And that gives the city a lot of security to know that if by chance anything were to be walked away from, that would be detrimental to the city if it was half done and we didn't have the money for it. So a lot of time goes into the I's and T's in order to make everything set, not only for CRG and the people that they're doing contracts with, but also for the city and making sure that we have safeguards in order to make it happen. Because as much as we trust everybody that's involved in it, you still got to have it on paper and make sure that, if bad things happen, we have some safeguards. So
it's security for all parties, really, and for the city as well. And great work, sir. Keep up the great work. Looking forward to hanging out again next month already. Thank you for the time, Matt.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it.
Find out more about some of the things we've talked about with Matt today at the city's website, wirapids.org, and be sure to follow them on social media. Great way to keep up to date on everything they are doing in the city of Wisconsin Rapids here. And a big shout out to our friends at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. Subscribe to their page on YouTube to keep up to date on the good work they are doing over there. We'll have more Midday Magazine coming up for you right here at 97.5 FM, 1320 AM, WFHR. We are locally grown radio.